Calls for change around investments into big oil. The rally outside RBC in Winnipeg and the ones across the country. Why some are demanding action from the bank. And tracking a celestial event. With the eclipse happening this afternoon, what you need to keep in mind around viewing and safety.
You're watching Global Winnipeg. This is Global News Morning.
Good morning. Thanks so much for waking up with us here at Global News Winnipeg. It is, of course, Eclipse Day. Many people excited right across the country. Here in this province, we'll be chatting about it all morning long, including things you need to keep in mind in terms of when it's hitting you here at home. But first, let's take a look at our top story. A 21-year-old man is in custody after terrifying moments at a major sporting goods store near the outlet mall Friday. Police say he went into the store on Sterling Line Parkway that afternoon, since its first outing last spring. We're coming off an absolutely gorgeous weekend here in Winnipeg. Many beautiful days right across Manitoba. So what's in the future for us? Time now to check our forecast. Here's Moises Canales-Lavigne.
Gabby, good morning to you and welcome to this Monday where things are going to be a little bit cloudy in the Winnipeg area and for much of the province as we get set for this week. Now, starting off this morning, pretty mild at +2. We've got a few clouds out there, but you'll really notice those mainly cloudy conditions as we get into the day. Those winds hanging out at about 13 kilometers per hour blowing from the southeast as you take a quick look at downtown Winnipeg there, and we'll get some more views of how things are shaping up here across the province. But looking at an 11-degree day as we take a look at the almanac, going down to +2 overnight. Those winds hanging out at about to that 10 to 15 mark. We're going to be short of that normal that we usually hit at this year, 8 degrees with that overnight low of -3. Currently in Winnipeg, 2 degrees. We're seeing some of those minus temperatures such as in Portage, Brandon, Dauphin sitting at -1, Melita at that 0 mark. Seeing that also in Winkler and Morden this morning. Sprague, one of the warmer spots, hanging out at +4 to start things off. Winnipeg looking at 11 degrees this afternoon. It will be mainly cloudy across the city. And as I mentioned, a lighter breeze for today. But as we look at warmer temperatures coming up over the next little bit, and now we can see that update hanging out at 12 degrees this afternoon for today. Tomorrow, 16 is saying an 80% chance of showers for us today, Wednesday, Thursday. There's that higher chance, I think, that we'll see that rain on Wednesday and Thursday as we hang out anywhere from about 10 to 15 degrees over the next little bit. Looking now at our OK Tire traffic report, St. Anne's and Fermor here this morning. Pretty quiet out on the roads before we start this Monday as we look at Sterling Line and Keniston. Now, for your gas prices, if you're looking to fill up at the pumps, Petro-Canada co-op stations are at about $1.44, but your average at $1.40.50. Sending it back to you now, Gabby. Welcome back. We're going to take a look at the almanac before we get set for what's in store for your weather to start this week. Normally, we're at about a high of 8 degrees in Winnipeg, and we only reached that low of -3. Much warmer today as we're going to hit that high of 12, only going down to 2 degrees, but 10 degrees warmer. That's the record we set back in 1987 on this day. It was 22 degrees. Hard to believe, but not looking at those kind of temperatures, at least in northern Manitoba. Churchill at -7. Thompson, Gillam, and Island Lake -2 to start things off with Flin Flon at that 0 mark. Also seeing Gimli, Morden, Winkler, Melita at 0. Portage, Brandon, Dauphin starting at -1. It's a 2-degree start for Winnipeg and under the clouds for much of today. As you can see, mainly cloudy conditions for the Winnipeg area along with southern Manitoba. We're also looking at some rain. This is more so concentrated along the Manitoba-Ontario border. So Kenora looking at those showers. There is a chance you could see some of that activity in Winnipeg over the coming days, but much of that shower activity is going to be concentrated around the Manitoba-Ontario border. Now, as you can see, Wednesday is when we're looking at those showers for Brandon and Winnipeg, but looking at those double-digit temperatures for the next 3 days as we're going to be hitting a high of 12 degrees here in Winnipeg this afternoon.
You're watching Global News.
A Rubik's Cube competition in Moncton brought participants from across the Maritimes for a day of personal bests and camaraderie. Lady of the Rings.
I'm Elsbeth. It's like
Good morning. You are watching Global News Winnipeg. Thanks so much for waking up with us here bright and early. Let's take a look at what's making headlines. Frustrations over a so-called pink tax. A look at women paying more for many hygiene products. How some Canadian students want to change that. And a scary incident in Norway House involving a teen. Police say he threatened to stab a young girl and officers. What we know.
You're watching Global Winnipeg.
Norway House RCMP are investigating an incident in northern Manitoba where a teenage boy allegedly threatened to stab officers and a young girl. Still plays a role in training cadets.
Gabby, an absolute pleasure to join you here on this Monday, and thanks to all of you for joining us here to start this week as we're at +2 and we've got a few clouds here in Winnipeg this morning. Looking at the HD Skycam brought to you by Capital Ford Lincoln. Winds are at about southeast 13 kilometers per hour, so not too bad of a morning as we're going to be starting off under the clouds. You'll notice that this morning at around 9 o'clock, Winnipeg area, much of southern Manitoba seeing those overcast conditions. And that will kind of stick for this afternoon. Getting a little bit of sunshine. We'll get those sunny breaks every now and then, but expect for it to be cloudy and rainy, especially tomorrow. This is what we're seeing at 6 a.m. Kenora area, any of those communities closer to the Ontario-Manitoba border, looking at those showers. And that will even be the case on Wednesday with a mix of sun and cloud for the Winnipeg area, and those showers heading towards southwest and south central Manitoba. So some rainy days ahead, but by the end of the week, we'll be ending it with some sunshine. Today, a high of 12 degrees for Winnipeg, heading to 16 degrees on Tuesday, 15 on Wednesday with that chance of showers. Now, if you're spending some time outside doing that spring cleaning, if you weren't able to get to that this past weekend, well, total pollen at this time, you're going to actually notice it's at moderate levels. Alder, aspen, poplar, and elm amongst those pollens for today. Looking at the OK Tire traffic report now and taking a look at Sterling Line in Keniston. Pretty quiet here on this Monday morning to start things off, and we'll end it with this shot over Notre Dame and Portage. You can see our camera shaking a little bit on the rooftop, but not too windy here on this Monday. Gas prices in Winnipeg, Petro-Canada, and co-op stations for regular gas. You're probably paying about $1.44 where you're going, but Domo, 204 Fuels amongst those that are offering gas at a cheaper price this morning. Sending it back to you now, Gabby.
Eclipse enthusiasts, this next one is for you. What time exactly you should be reaching for those solar glasses? We'll bring you more coming up in your national news after this break.
911, what's your emergency?
Project.
We're going to take a little break here on Global News Morning, pay some bills. Stay with us. We're bringing you more headlines right after this. That's a live shot of Winnipeg's Main Street this morning.
What is Stack TV?
$1.40.50. Sending it back to you now, Gabby.
The United Nations top court has opened hearings in a case that seeks an end to German military and other aid to Israel. We'll bring you the latest coming up in your national news. Stay with us.